Welcome to Modern Musings, conversations with the maiden, mother, and crone, looking at ourselves and the world through the lens of the 21st century. Hey everybody, and we're back with another episode. My name is Amber Garvin, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Kristen Hessler and Cindy Murray.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey everyone. So we have a great topic this week. Dream travel destinations.
One of my favorite topics.
And we all three love to travel.
Yes, we do.
And it's funny because growing up, I never traveled. My family never traveled anywhere. We didn't really go anywhere. And now I'm like nearing 40, and last year was the first time I'd ever left the country.
Yeah.
And now my future husband, coming up really soon, Jason and I, we have a honeymoon plan for the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I went on my very first cruise last year as well, and now we're going on another cruise. I'm addicted
You're
now.
gonna love it. I love it. I love it.
Aren't they so fun?
It's y'all's
so
fault.
Carefree.
Yeah.
Y'all's fault dragging me on that cruise, and then now
love
I
cruising.
can't wait for my next cruise. And y'all are going on a cruise too.
No, we just came back from one.
Oh yeah,
We just came back a few weeks ago from the my brain just went dead, from the Green Man Holistic Cruise, and we had a great time. No, I love cruising. That's one of my favorite ways to travel. It's the reason I became a travel agent.
There's less decisions to make
Yes.
because you're not like having to go through all the restaurants and
yeah.
is this place open still?
Go get the food.
or-
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
don't
remember
have to
like
figure
when
it
we
out.
were in Marfa and we kept getting like our heart set on a restaurant. They
And
were
it'd
only
be
open on
closed.
Wednesdays, and it was like
Yeah,
crap.
we made all
Or-
these plans, and there was things that were closed.
We
The
wanted to-
website was wrong.
I
hungry, you just walk down
know.
there and go eat. And you want to go swim? Just walk down there and go swim.
Right.
And
Right? Yeah,
We did have some good food in Marfa.
we did.
I remember we were really dead set on breakfast, and we went to this one place, and they had like we got in line, and they said the
breakfast
people in
stopped
front
with
of
the
us.
people in front of us.
Yes,
yeah,
and
Yes,
I'm
we're
just
that
like,
made me so
what the
mad.
heck?
why we went there.
Yeah.
But that was like the only place open anyway. So
Yeah.
it was like, well,
It's like, don't go anywhere in Texas on a Sunday.
Ugh, yeah. But, you were talking about how you never really got to travel when you were a kid, and I was very much the same way. When we traveled, it was to go visit our family in Arkansas or Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's where we went. And, we didn't go out to restaurants. We didn't go do anything special. We might go camping at the lake with the family. Things like that, but we really didn't go places. My dad took me on a trip once when I was third or fourth grade, and then he was a truck driver, so I got to ride with him during spring break. I got to go on a trip with him for spring break, and because I was the oldest. And then maybe once I was in junior high or so, I got to go with him and my aunt and uncle on a trip to Colorado. And actually, both of those trips were to Colorado. And so that was really the only places I ever went. And I don't know. I always wanted to go places. So I just made it a point to try to go places when I was a kid. My parents went places, but they went without us. And that didn't sit well with me, I guess. So I tried to go I tried to go more places with my kids. When we went somewhere, we took the kids with us. And I didn't go out of the country until I was an adult also.
Mm-hmm.
But we took the kids with us when we went. Kristen was grown by then, but that was not because we didn't want to take the kids. It was because we couldn't afford to go anywhere.
I think that's probably why your parents didn't.
Well,
take
yeah,
you in a
but
lot
they
of places, too.
went. They did go play. I mean, they went camping
Yeah.
But they would go places without us because they went with their friends. So, and they didn't take us places. They, more often than not, they would take us to grandma's house and we'd spend the entire summer at grandma's house and they would go traveling. So,
Well-
you know, and I don't know. I think travel is good for kids. I believe in taking your kids traveling because the more things that your kids see that are different, the more open they become to things as an adult.
Yeah.
And I always wanted, like I said, I always wanted to go places. I have a huge, long bucket list. So once we get into that bucket list, I have a lot. And, you know, I've tried to hit a few of them, but I will be working on my bucket list till the day I die. So,
Oh, for sure.
Well, what's one of your, so it's dream travel. What is one of your dream travels as a child that you always wanted to go to?
I actually got to go to one of mine, and it was Disneyland. I always wanted to go to Disneyland as a child, and I never got to go, but I did get to go as an adult. I went for training as an adult travel agent, but I got to see that. I mean, we got some time to play at Disneyland, and you know, it wasn't the vacation that I would have liked it to be, and I would like to go back again, but I did get to go do that. So, you know, I also got to go to Walt Disney World. So
It's really funny because I got to go to Disneyland through Scentsy.
uh-huh.
So I was also kind of like working part of the time that I was there. We just got to go for like one day.
And you know,
On the free
I've
day.
never been.
Yeah.
So that was that would probably be like as a kid, yeah, my dream travel destination would have been Disneyland, because what kid doesn't
Mhm.
want to go to Disneyland? And yeah, still have never been.
Always wanted to go to New York City as a kid.
New York
Well,
City is
yeah,
a big
that
one for me,
too.
Because it just looks so big.
And
as a
I
kid.
still have
Like,
not been
unbelievable.
there.
Yeah.
I have not been there. My son has been there, but I
Have
Yeah.
have
you
not
been there, Amber?
No, I've never
No.
been to New York either. That would be like another like dream travel as a kid. And then of course London.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shakespeare.
okay, yeah. I wanted to go to Washington, D.C., and I wanted to see the Grand Canyon. Those were two of my
Yeah.
big domestic ones as well. So,
I think
Yeah.
my biggest dream, I have two big dream travel destinations. One that I've actually had since, well, early college, was to travel to Cape Horn and see the quote unquote end of the world. And I want to say that I've talked about this on the podcast before, maybe.
I think I remember possibly.
But
Yeah.
that has been a dream travel destination since early college. And then another dream travel destination would be Singapore.
Okay. Yeah.
I really want to go to Singapore.
There's a lot of places in Asia I would like to go, particularly Southeast Asia, Thailand, Cambodia.
Well, yeah, I want to
Vietnam,
go all those places
all
too.
of those
but-
places. Myanmar. I would love to go to all those places. There's just it's hard for me because there are so many places. I have a huge bucket list, like I said. So there's a lot of things I want to see. I would like, I've always wanted to go to the Holy Land, and I would like to see Petra. That's on my bucket list. I've also always wanted to go see the pyramids in Egypt, because I'm fascinated with antiquities, and Pompeii is another one I would like to go see, because I'm fascinated by ancient things, but so many of those places, particularly like Egypt and the Holy Land, are not as safe as they once were. Well, not that they were ever very safe, but they're not that safe for Americans. So some of those
I
could
feel
be
like a lot of
problematic.
those places that I want to go to are not safe for Americans. Like, I would love to go see like the Onion Domes in Red Square in Moscow.
Oh, yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
Russia's not like the place where Americans would necessarily
No.
want to travel to
not,
right now.
definitely not right now.
Yeah.
No.
No, but they are beautiful, and I'm fascinated by them as well.
Well, yeah, I'd
Um,
love to go see a lot of those historical places
I,
as well.
I would like to see the Forbidden City in Beijing. I would like to see Machu Picchu.
Mm-hmm.
Any of the Mayan ruins or the Incan ruins are fascinating to me, and so I love all of that stuff. Stonehenge, I would love to see Stonehenge. Ireland is a huge one on my bucket list because I am descended from people who came here from Ireland, so understanding more about my heritage there is fascinating, and particularly with just different pagan things that we've studied and we've talked about. I'm just fascinated with that culture. It's I don't know. It's a place I would like to go check out.
What are some places that are less forbidden or taboo and more like easily accessible that are on your list?
Hawaii, definitely Hawaii.
Alaska.
Oh, yes,
Ooh,
definitely
yes, I want
Alaska.
to go to Alaska, where when it's cold but not that cold. Yeah.
I think I would like to do the cruise of Alaska first.
Mm-hmm.
That way I can enjoy,
From afar.
I would do a land trip along with it, but do the cruise and, wind up in Alaska and then do the land portion. I think that would be fabulous because then you can kind of get up close to the glaciers and you can do some whale watching and, see some of Alaska's finest, just the tip of the iceberg, basically. And then go into the interior, to Denali or something like that, to check that out. I'd also like to go to Iceland. I would
Yes.
love to go to Iceland and check that out. I'd like to see the Northern Lights and just
Every
experience that.
state that I have not been to yet.
Oh yeah, definitely that. I would like
Yeah.
to see all 50 states. And
Or-
Puerto Rico.
Oh, definitely. Or like do the Amtrak vacation like across the United States. That would be a lot of fun.
I think so too. Watching things like Murder on the Orient Express and stuff like that. I love the thought of traveling by train.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it has a gazillion stops and takes forever to get there,
There's something cool about that.
there is something cool about that. And a lot of, like a lot of the Alaskan tours and some of the Canadian Rocky tours and stuff, you can take trips by train as well. But I don't think any of them are as long as like the Amtrak, cross country or anything like that. But yeah, I would love
Or
that.
just a cross country road trip.
Yeah. That would be fun too. I would like to see Istanbul.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be fascinating. It's kind of that East meets West. It's the culture there is so fascinating, and the tapestries and artwork and things like that. I just love all that.
That one's also a little tricky for women
It is
too.
Yeah.
to travel.
Well,
I know it's almost
not
like
as
there's-
much like
no, not
it's
as
not
much as like some of the other places. But at the same time, it's not like going to like Kansas.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Well, and there's people who've said, and this came up with me I say recently, it's been within the last couple of years, on my LinkedIn account where somebody was talking about traveling to Dubai. And I was like, I don't feel like that's a place I could go. I don't want to patronize that culture, for one. And I would not feel safe there. And then I've had other women who say I travel there all the time for work. And it didn't bother me at all. I felt very safe. And I have to question that.
Yeah, you're a paying customer, so
Maybe, I don't know. I just have to wonder about it though, so.
well, and I think like the security on the streets there is a lot more focused on than in other places around that part of the world where it isn't necessarily safe for a woman to travel or an American to travel.
Right.
So, I mean, a lot of those places, it's dangerous for us because we might not be cautious of our every move.
Right,
you
right,
know?
right. And there are things like going to Korea, and places
Right.
like that as well. Even in China, there are things that are taboo or illegal there that we wouldn't even think about. Public displays of affection, different codes of conduct,
Right.
dress codes, things like that. And so it behooves us to be aware, to really study those places before you go there, and know what you're getting into, and observe their culture. Don't go there trying to insist that you have your American way in this foreign country. You are going there to appreciate their culture for what it is.
Right.
And if
that's
you
probably why
can't-
they don't like Americans.
Well, yeah, a lot of Americans go to overseas and want to do things the American way, and that's not why you're traveling. That shouldn't be why you're traveling. You should be traveling to see things the way they are in other places and to appreciate
But
those cultures
I think
for the
that
way they
a lot
are.
of times we go to utilize the resource that's there. Like,
Right.
oh, they have a beautiful beach, and then
Right.
I want to sit on the beach and where's my chicken nuggets? Like, oh, this place doesn't have chicken nuggets,
Well, there's a long-standing joke. There's a long-standing joke that runs around with travel agents, and it's a list of things that our clients supposedly said when they came back from their trip, and it's like, yeah, I hate this. Why did you send me to Italy? Nobody there spoke English. I give you a bad rating because you sent me to a place where they don't speak English. And it's like, it's a foreign country. Or I'm going to give it a bad rating because the beach was too sandy. And it's like, are we realistic here? It's a beach. So, yeah, you have to appreciate what is there for what it is. And, yeah, in a lot of places, they don't have private toilets, private restrooms, private baths in all the room. You might have to share one down the hall with the other guests at the hotel. Or they might only have twin beds or tiny beds. You should be prepared for that because that's the way things are there.
Speaking
It just reminded me of the bathroom fiasco in Mexico last year.
The
When
bathroom fiasco
When
in
I
Mexico.
couldn't find a restroom, and then there were when we were out shopping.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
Really, where that guy was trying to charge me $5 to use the restroom
Oh, I didn't know about that.
over in the shopping center that
Oh.
we were at.
oh, the one that had like a swimming pool
Yeah.
Oh,
in the
yeah.
courtyard. It was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did. They had a bathroom, but they were like, it's $5.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like it's probably outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was outside.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Like it
yeah,
wasn't
I mean,
even a bathroom.
They want you to eat the food at their restaurant, and yeah,
Right. It's not a public restroom. It's
yeah.
their
Well,
little resort or their little club or restaurant or whatever. Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to do is go back to the places that I went to as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Just to enjoy again with adult eyes. Like
Uh-huh.
you took me to Carlsbad Cavern and
That
White
one's on my bucket
Sands.
list again
Yeah,
because I
wanna
love
go
that
back
place. Yeah.
because I just vaguely remember. Like I remember the way it smelled.
Uh-huh. Oh, you say that and I could close my eyes and I can smell
Yeah.
that smell. Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember the cool air, the
Mhm.
humidity, and the way it felt and the way it looked. But like, I don't remember everything about it. Like,
Right.
I was like 8, So
Right.
that would be cool to go back again.
Yeah,
and do that
would
again.
be cool. I agree. I would like to go back, and we never went back with Steven. So he never got to see it, and I don't know if Ashley ever did either. Probably not, because she probably would have had a hard time walking then, but I don't think she would have a hard time walking now.
No, oh
Yeah.
yeah, she'd probably like it now.
Yeah.
I would say one place that I visited as a kid that I'd like to go back as an adult is Washington, D.C.
Oh, and so that's, like I said, one of the places I never got to go, and I've always wanted to go
Yeah, I
there.
went there when I was like 16 or 17, and my orchestra, it was like a school trip with
school
orchestra,
trip.
and
Yeah.
we went and played like a concert, like a contest. I don't even remember how we did at the contest, but then we went to the Smithsonian, but they only gave us a couple of hours, and that's like a multi-museum thing.
Well,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you can't go through the whole Smithsonian.
So we went
anyway.
to the science one, and then we went to the art one. But I think when we went into the art portion, we went in and like walked in there for like 5 minutes and then turned around and left, because the girl that I was with was like, let's go to science. And I was like, okay. So, which the science museum was very cool.
Yeah, I think that's the one that we went to when I was.
But it's like, I don't even
On the
remember like
Holocaust.
looking at the whole thing. I just feel like we were there, like, and we zipped through everything really fast. We went to Washington Monument, and I remember seeing Lincoln,
Yes.
and I remember seeing a statue of Einstein,
Yes.
and
I
then
have
we saw
pictures, that's
the
how I know.
changing of the guards. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, at the
I've
Tomb of
seen-
the Unknown Soldier.
Seen that,
Yes.
yeah.
But and then we did go in and see the Declaration or Constitution.
Yeah,
or something. I
yeah.
don't remember the document, but it was like, oh, there it is over there. Walk past really quick. Like, okay, move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
There's so
remember-
much there on the mall. You could spend
yeah.
forever.
Oh, and then we
Driving
drove
past.
past the Pentagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Driving past, yeah.
Yeah, we drove past a lot of things. And I think we spent more time because, they had to feed us every time. Well, we basically fed ourselves. Like, you had allotted money for every meal. So we would go to the mall.
Right.
Whatever mall we were at, they would drop us off where the food court was
Yeah.
to let us eat at the mall, which is pretty smart. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was like, we really didn't get to, like,
See anything.
try stuff. And you spend so much time trying to get everyone fed at the mall. that-
Right.
yeah. The one thing though that I wish I knew the name of the restaurant, but I ate Philly cheesesteaks the entire time I was there, because there was some fast food like Philly cheesesteak in the mall at like every place we went. There
Right.
was that Philly cheesesteak place, and I ate that like for every meal while we were there.
I don't even remember
So good. That's the thing
the
I remember the
food
most.
that I had when I was there. Like I said, I remember the trip home because there was a storm and we were stuck out on the runway for hours
Oh.
before
wow.
we even flew out of Washington, D.C. Like, we were stuck in the plane on the runway for a few hours.
See, by contrast, my school was so poor that even though I went on band trips every year, but everywhere we went, we had to get there by school bus. We didn't even take charter bus. It was a school bus. And one year, one of our school buses broke down. I wasn't on that bus, but there were about half the kids were, but we went to places like Lubbock and Carlsbad and,
Yeah.
And things like that. We were in Lubbock. We went to Dallas and Carlsbad and things like that. And so really wasn't much to it. There really wasn't. I never flew in a plane until I was an adult. So when I went to go get, I had to go to Austin to get my cosmetology license, to take my cosmetology exam, and I flew then. So that was the first time I'd ever flown.
And then
on a
I
plane.
flew shortly after you then. Not too long after you then. Because I flew with Grandma. Yeah.
When you were little, yeah. So, and I like flying, but I don't like flying. I'm okay with flying. I like flying because it means I'm on a trip, but I hate landing. I hate landing. But I think if I'd have done it more as a child, I probably it wouldn't be so
weird.
scary. My mother scared me about flying, and that wasn't even her fault. That was she had an uncle who flew crop dusters and stuff like that, and he liked to take the kids up in the plane and play, but he liked to do stunts, and he would scare them. And so when she went up with him, he scared her, and then she was terrified of flying. So my whole life, she was always like, "Oh no, 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 no," So I had this fear in me before I ever even flew. So, but I don't mind flying. I've flown, all over the country. But cruising is my favorite way to travel. For sure.
And that seems so absurd to me. Like a light plane in the sky. That's kind of absurd, but a giant ship floating.
Well, I know,
in
and
water
I know
to
a
me
lot of
is
people.
Really absurd.
I know a lot of people who won't cruise for the same reasons I don't like to fly, because they're afraid something's going to happen to that cruise ship, and they have no control. People that are afraid that it'll catch on fire, or it'll sink, or whatever. They're trapped. Or it'll be a sick ship.
Well, it's like you take your life in your hands every time you get in your car, so you really shouldn't worry about the plane or the cruise ship, honestly.
You're absolutely right. You are at more risk of wrecking your car within a mile of your home than you are of having something happen to you on a cruise ship or in an airplane.
Well, yeah, I was driving home from work down the highway the other day, and traffic was backed up really bad as usual. But it was like a car had flipped and caught on fire, and the whole road and the side of the road was on fire, and it was just like,
Was this on 183 or 121?
It was
a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it was somewhere over in that area.
Because I think I was on that highway and we were stuck in the traffic behind it. Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
Yeah, and when by the time I drove past the car, like, it was black. It had completely just. And I was just like, oh my gosh, did they get out?
Yeah.
And it's scary.
It is.
And you don't even think about it because a
we've
lot
been
of people just like drive,
We've been conditioned that it's normal, that it's a normal thing to just get in that car and drive. But you're in a box of steel and plastic. Yeah.
Several of my family members
This is giving Kristen anxiety.
I'm
right
like, we're supposed to be talking about dream travel, not nightmares.
Kristen has problems with anxiety over cars. Okay, so
but
road trips. How about road trips?
Yeah, let's talk about dying in a box on a vacation.
Road trips.
Yeah, I love road trips.
Something recent that we did, a few months back, we went to
Marfa,
West Texas, far West Texas, and explored the Big Bend National Park. All of the national parks are on my bucket list. All of the Texas state parks are on my bucket list. If I can only go there, I want to at least try, so, I love doing those things, but I'd like to go to New Mexico and see the petroglyphs, and, I'd like to see the redwood forest. I'd like to see, Yosemite and Yellowstone and Mount St. Helens, and there's just so much wonder, even just within the contiguous United States. There's just so much diversity of land and environment that it fascinates me.
Mm-hmm. Definitely,
and I'd like
every
to go
state, something cool in every state.
There is, and I would like to go back to some of the places I've visited before. Like Kristen said, some of them I visited as a child, some of them I visited as an adult, and I just didn't get enough of it. You know, I've been several places when we go on those cruises. You know, several of them I've been to the same place several times, but I see something different every time I'm there. And anyone who says, "Oh, I've been there, I don't want to go back," has not really fully explored a place, you know, because there's always something new to learn, something new to see. And
Well, just the city that we live in. And I know we had
even
a
here, yeah.
podcast a while back of just like day trips or
Right.
whatever. And I discover things. I work in downtown Dallas, and I am still discovering things about
Right.
downtown Dallas. And
Yeah.
I've worked there for
Right.
5 years
Yeah.
now.
It's you know, get out and explore. I think that's an important thing. I really do. So be curious about the world around you, and
Go see something cool, like even if it's just local. Try
Yeah.
to, like, once a week. That's what I try
I
to.
know I want to do more like quick weekend trips. I think the more
Right.
often you make little quick weekend trips, the less
you have to
challenging they are
Yes.
to make happen,
right.
Yeah.
because you can quickly just pack a bag and go,
Right.
and the less things you have to
Think
have
you have to have
to
because
take
you-
with
yeah.
you, the less burden you have
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And, you know, like I said, I want to see all of the state of Texas. The state of Texas is so huge.
You were talking about, like, less stuff.
Oh,
And our trip to Marfa, we had
we
like,
had the car.
we
was
were only
full.
gone like 3 days, and our car was like packed to the
I
gills.
know, and that's hard when you because
Well,
we were
but
doing like things
we were
where
doing
we
a
had
lot
to
of-
have lawn chairs.
we
and-
were doing things that had to do a lot of different things. So we had camera equipment and lawn chairs.
And we all had a cooler, and we
had
all had
coolers.
we had lawn chairs, and we had
we
different
all had
outfits.
2 different cups.
Well,
for-
we stayed
to
at
drink
different
from.
kinds of hotel facilities, so we needed different things for that. Because we were at the teepees, and we were at the domes, and then we were at the hotel. And like you said, we needed lawn chairs to go see the Marfa lights, and we had cameras and
podcast recording equipment.
Yeah,
podcasting. We had a
Most
car
people
full of
don't take
podcasts.
that stuff with them
No.
when they go on a trip. Yeah.
So yeah,
So yeah, we had a packed full.
it was fun though, wasn't it?
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to do that more often.
Oh, and
I love it.
hiking stuff because we took
Oh yeah, we took some stuff to go hiking, but we did not.
outdoory
And
stuff
we didn't
there.
get to
And
And we
hike
didn't get to
because
swim.
yeah.
We took stuff to swim,
was
and we didn't
too
get to
hot.
swim.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't get to swim at all.
I know. Yeah.
'Cause
See, we've
nobody
got to go
there,
back.
Marfa had a pool.
They didn't.
No.
Nobody had a pool.
Yeah.
And then the one place we wanted to go swimming was full.
Balmora,
Yeah.
Balmorray.
Balmorray.
That's how you say it. And then we were going to swim in the Rio Grande,
and it was closed.
yes, it was closed. Well, the road was closed.
Yeah, the road it was flooded.
Yes, because they'd had rain in West Texas in the summer. They
In the
never have
desert.
rain. They never have rain there.
Oddly
So,
enough.
yeah, it rained on our parade, but
Oh, it was nice.
I
The
really
rain
want
was
to go.
nice.
I want to go back there because I'd like to take Mark there. I think he would love
Yeah, Travis would have.
Yeah, I wanna
loved
take
the
see it.
mountains. It was
Jason as well. So maybe we need to
big-
have like
I
a
would like to
couples
just
trip.
go really explore Big Bend because it was.
Sorry, Raina. No,
Yeah, just couples.
Amber just
no kids.
uninvited you.
No kids.
But I think that would be awesome to go check that out again. I would.
And stay in the dome again.
Yes, I would stay there in Terlingua. Yep.
Yeah.
And go have some more chili.
I think that was the best food we had too.
Yeah, that
That
was
chili.
the best chili.
Yep. I agree.
That's one of my favorite things to do
Oh,
on
yeah.
my vacation is just go.
Find
So when
food
we
places.
went to New Orleans, I just wanted to like eat all the Cajun food.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, what are like
Yes.
the core Cajun food things?
Oh yeah, I had a bucket
Cuisine
list
items.
when I went to New
And-
Orleans of
yeah,
food that I
we
wanted to eat.
didn't even get to like when I went like explore it completely. Like I want to go back so I can see more things.
I
in
would
New
like to do
Orleans,
that
yeah.
as well because we had a short time. I think we were there 2 nights. and then
yeah,
had to come back.
yeah.
Jason and I too were there. We were there 2 nights.
And so it was not long enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So much more to discover there. You know, just like Washington D.C. and
It's almost
Everywhere.
like you need a week everywhere you go. A whole week.
Right.
yeah.
I also want to go to Memphis.
Yep.
I would like to see Graceland, and I would like to go to Nashville. Because I grew up in a country listening household, and I listened to country music myself for a long time. And, you know, that's the Mecca right there. And I would like to go check that out.
That was one place that my mom and grandma traveled that they didn't take me was
Uh-huh.
Nashville.
That's a definite to do on my bucket list.
And that's the part that kind of stinks because Tennessee is really long, like Texas. So Memphis is close to us. That's an easy drive. But,
right. But Nashville's on
Nashville
the other side.
Nashville's
is on
not,
the
yeah.
other side. It's a whole different time zone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you would have... That's a really long
Is it?
trip.
It's not a different time zone, is it? They're both the same time zone. They're both Eastern time because they're both east of the Mississippi.
No.
They're both east of the Mississippi.
I thought Memphis was on our time zone.
I don't think so. I think the
Half of
Mississippi.
Tennessee is in the other time zone. Pretty sure it goes halfway down.
We'll have to
state.
check that. Well, I'll put that in the.
Yeah, you can check fact me. Wait.
I'll check.
Check
fact.
Check fact you.
I will
check-
fact
I will-
check Kristen.
I will check
and,
fact
Fascist
Kristen.
and put that on
me.
Heard
Check
It on.
fact me.
Yeah.
We'll put that on Heard It on the podcast. So.
Is Tennessee?
You can just
in
pop
what
over there
time
right now
zone?
and see. It should be up and ready.
Well, you comment on this podcast if you know what time zone Tennessee is
Right.
in.
That way people don't have to go over there and find it, right?
All the people in Eastern Tennessee are shaking their heads.
Going,
Yeah,
Y'all
they're
are
like,
dumb.
why?
Y'all
we're
girls
gonna
are dumb as a
unfollow.
box of rocks.
We're gonna unfollow people in Texas. You know, as
I
if
really think
George
they're-
Bush didn't make us
I
unfollow.
think they're on
people
Eastern
Texas.
time. I really do. Oh, well, we'll figure it out one way or the other.
I'm gonna pull it up and Google it in your face.
Oh, okay.
Part of Tennessee is in one time zone, the other
I don't
part's
know.
in the other.
Well, then there's Arizona that doesn't it follows its own thing.
That's a
or
whole
whatever.
nother confusing thing.
Yeah, we won't go. I mean, that's Arizona. That's not.
I would like to go to Sedona, though. I think Sedona would be really cool to go.
Yeah, I've been to Phoenix when
Oh.
I was a kid. I went to Phoenix.
Okay. That's weird. I flew through Phoenix on my way to Las Vegas.
She said, "Oh, that's weird because she's seeing Scott County, Morgan County, Rowan. I hope I said that right. Sorry,
Rowan.
guys. Rhea and Hamilton are in Eastern time zone, and all the mother folks are in Central time zone. Most of
Interesting.
Tennessee is in Central time zone.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep. I work in a call center.
Well, I was always told that it was the Mississippi was the dividing line. So, you know. Hey. Who knows?
Where half of the cities are in Tennessee, that I'm not always exactly. But Nashville is, you are correct in that. Nashville is kind of in the middle of Tennessee, and so it is on the Central time zone.
Nashville is on Central Time?
Yes.
Oh. No, see, I thought they were all on Eastern.
Mm-mm.
So I'm
No.
not correct at all then.
Well, you knew it was in a different time zone. You just didn't realize that it was ours.
That's not a different time zone.
That's
That
ours.
is our
It's
time
different
zone.
from what you thought it was.
She's confusing me
I'm
now.
not confused at all. I'm pretty sure what states are in what time zone. Well, that does add an extra layer of difficulty when you're traveling. So you got language, you got time zones, trying to be on time somewhere.
And people that don't update their
And trying to
website
figure
to
out,
keep
like-
their hours store hours
that
open,
is the
and
worst. You go to like a place that doesn't have like
or they don't have a website. It's
Oh,
just a
right.
Facebook
Just
page,
Facebook.
and they don't update it or anything.
right.
Restaurants that don't have prices because, you know, God forbid I should walk into a restaurant and it's a 5-star.
And you got your flip flops on because you've been at the beach all day.
Right,
Yeah.
right. These are things people need to know. What is the price? Is this in my price range? Because I don't want to go in and get seated or be in the wrong clothing or whatever. And the time should always be updated on the website, always. And there's a lot of businesses who don't do that. And you could just make one of your employees in charge of it. It's not that hard.
Well, now, why would they do that?
I don't know.
They're thinking about the people that go there on the regular.
They
local.
are. Yeah. But if you're in a tourist area,
Well, I don't even
if you're
think it's
in a
really
tourist
about
area.
being in a tourist area anymore, because people are traveling at a faster rate and far more frequently
right,
year over year over year.
and going to non-touristy areas. I mean,
Absolutely, yeah, because everyone wants to explore now.
right. Well, especially post-COVID, because I think we're really still seeing that rebound travel from COVID, because everybody was so trapped for so long, and they're anxious to get out and see the world now. So they realize, I think a lot of people realize that it could happen again, and I might not ever get to go see these places or
So you gotta
whatever.
get out
So
now while you
yeah.
can and live life to
Right.
its fullest. What is that, YOLO?
yeah. So yeah, I think
I
so.
think that's why some people don't want to go back to places too. I kind of am in
Well,
that camp. Like I want to go back to some places, but at the same time,
if
like,
you had the
see
place of
new
somewhere you've
places.
never been, or
a
somewhere
place I've already
going back.
been, absolutely, I'm going to go to a new
Right.
place. If someone said, "Do you want to go to Louisiana or do you want to go to Memphis?" I would take Memphis because I've
Right.
never been.
Right.
But and then I look at like, okay, Galveston or New Orleans. Okay, I've been to Galveston like 10 times, but New Orleans only once, so I
Right.
would pick New Orleans.
Right.
And I always say every time that I go to Galveston, man, there's so many things to do here.
But we
And
don't
it's
ever
the
go.
smallest little island.
And the only
Yeah.
time we ever go there is when we're going on a cruise,
And
going
we
out of
Don't
Galveston.
never
So
really get to do those.
and we
things.
don't go ahead enough to spend any
Yeah.
time there. And it's such a wonderful little island. There's so much history. It's a lot like New Orleans in a lot of ways, because it was settled by the same groups of people, and a lot of the same styles of architecture and things like that.
So true. So true.
Much of the same history. And it's just a fabulous place. It is. As are so many places. There's just, the world is out there.
Well, that makes me want to make like a little weekend trip, because Travis and I have talked about just going somewhere and just staying in a hotel and just going and doing like 1 or 2 things, and then, coming back home, eat at a restaurant, go to a place like a museum or something,
Right.
and then come back home. Because when we
Right.
went to Lubbock this summer, it was so much fun. Like, I had a blast. It was just a quick little trip. We went
Yeah.
for a family wedding, but we went and swam at like the water park that I loved to go to as a kid.
Yeah. We
And
went back to a place that
It
you
was
went to as a
not
kid.
near as cool as it was when I was a kid, but I'm content now. I'm never gonna wonder,
If
you
it
know,
was still as good. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
or always wish to go back there. Like
Right.
I've, sated that or whatever. So when we were there, it was like, man, we got to do this more often. Just get out of the house. It's like so clean in a hotel room. It's like organized. Get to go try some delicious food, relax, go out and do something, and then you drive home. It's all good. And Fort Worth isn't far from us, but it's far enough that it's like, oh, I don't want to drive to Fort Worth. But
But there's so much there.
like an hour away.
I
I know.
literally drive that drive every day.
Yeah,
you do.
yeah, I know. And for me, but I don't. Like, I've always wanted to be like no more than 10, 15, 20 minutes from my job. Like, that's for me, like, that's where I go every time. I want to be super close. So at the same point, like, I don't go to Fort Worth unless it's like a really good reason. So,
Which is
like,
why
it
my
would
son
be
never
fun.
comes to see us.
right?
Yeah.
See, I totally
He's there.
understand.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that would be fun. Maybe we should go stay in a hotel and do something in Fort
Oh,
Worth,
yeah.
like the Stockyards or something.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then go eat at a restaurant and then go do something for the next day, shop around, and then
Go
come
to
home.
the zoo. They have a fabulous
Yeah,
zoo
you
there.
know what?
The log
That's another place I want to go again because I went as a kid, like a teenager, and I was like, meh, but I love animals. Like, I want to go to the zoo again.
They have a fabulous zoo there. They have a really cool log cabin village
I know
there.
that's like
And
not
a
really dream
beautiful
travel, but-
botanical garden. So, yeah.
My ideas of dream travel are like not really like necessarily like destinations, but to do things like
Yeah, mine too. I do.
Mhm.
I like to do things. I like museum. Like I said, I like to go to cultural cultural meccas, basically, where I can go, absorb a culture and see the history and learn about it and things like that, like going to Chichen Itza like 3 or 4 times now. So, I've been there, but it's still fascinating to me, and, but yeah, I was going to ask you, do you guys have a written bucket list or any kind of representation of your bucket list? I actually have in my bullet journal a bucket list that I have put on here, and I saw one place that I put on here that I want to go that I have not mentioned yet, and that is I want to cruise the Panama Canal. But they've actually widened the locks so that bigger ships can go through, and I don't know if it would be the same now. But I wanted to go before when it was the really skinny locks or I'd say really skinny. They're not really small, but the ships like barely fit through them. And I just think that's a fascinating feat of technology.
So I have a Pinterest bucket list.
Oh,
And then I have one in my bullet journal because somewhere
I don't
I had them
have a
like written down.
bucket
Like, oh, I
list.
want to go there. And then when Travis and I got married, we made a bucket list of places that we wanted to go. Where we like both made a bucket list and then we compared and wrote down the places that we both wanted to go to. So I have that on a piece of paper somewhere. But yeah, I have Disney World, Machu Picchu, Nazca, Stonehenge, Petra, and what else do I have on there? Oh, and I want to go to the gosh, I can't think of what it's called, but it's in France where they have all the people buried under
the catacombs.
Catacombs,
Yes.
thank you.
I would like to see that too.
And then I want to go on a sleeper car, like an old-fashioned looking one that's like all wooden looking and like,
Like Murder on the Orient
Yes,
Express.
exactly. I want to go on like one of those European looking. And then New Yorker's on there. So and I started that one like probably 10 years ago. And I haven't added to it because I don't really get on Pinterest that much anymore.
Oh, yeah.
So, and those are the same. I needed to add the cathedral in Moscow and the Aurora Borealis are two that I also want to go to that aren't on there. So you're like the girl, Amber, you're the one that has like all the lists of lists. I'm surprised that you don't have one.
I am too.
I'm actually really
I have
surprised.
like a different bucket list for different things.
Books.
Yeah.
Movies.
Really, honestly, like books, restaurants, stuff like that. But no, I don't have like this huge. I think because traveling until the last few years has been kind of out of my reach. Like I've always just, I've had like ideas like, yeah, I want to go to these places, but I guess like I didn't dare to dream that like someday I would be in a position to where I could travel and do things. It's kind of, I mean, I used to be struggling, I used to be poor. I mean, I never like dreamed as far as like, hey, I want to go to this concert, or hey, I want to do this thing that's expensive and then, because I never thought that I'd ever be able to.
Right.
And y'all were talking about going to Galveston. Like, yeah, I've been to Galveston twice in my life. And, well, one time we were leaving on the cruise, so I didn't get a chance to do anything. And then, plus, I wasn't in my own car, so I couldn't go explore, and it was freezing cold outside. But,
it was literally 11 degrees outside.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah,
so,
right.
like, and the time before that I'd went, like, it was like this borrowed money sleep in my Jeep road trip that my ex-husband and I went to visit his brother down in Galveston. And it was like we borrowed money from my dad, and we went to the grocery store and got cheap food and put in a cooler because we knew we wouldn't be able to afford to eat anywhere down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I've traveled like that too as a kid,
Yeah.
And as a young adult as well,
I mean, I have like in the back of my mind places that I want to go, like especially places that I've read about in books that I want to check out, like going to Italy after reading Eat, Pray, Love, and going to Singapore after reading Crazy Rich Asians, and then going to, all of the Shakespeare stuff in London. That's like a big bucket list thing. But I guess like as far as that's concerned, it's just like take one trip at a time, I guess, and
right. Yeah.
But I mean,
and that's what my advice, I think, for anybody who wants to travel and hasn't traveled, start small, start with the furthest that you can afford. If that's just to the town next door, go to the town next door and, make it a day trip and go and explore and come back.
And pack your sandwiches.
Your sandwiches. Yeah. Take a picnic.
Man, y'all talking about like, oh, I'm going to go get a hotel room in Fort Worth. And I'm like, I literally, like, it's only 30 minutes away. Why would,
But I do that.
The part about going and staying in a hotel room, though, is that you're getting out of your house.
Out of your house.
Where
and
there's that visual clutter of, like, all the silent to-do lists of things that you're supposed to be doing or should be doing or telling yourself you're supposed to be doing. And
that's why I don't agree with staycations, because
absolutely,
I find that people who take staycations wind up not really vacationing at all.
Yeah.
They just work on things around the house that have been ignored for, and they guilt themselves into
I
cleaning
thought that
house
was
or
the
whatever.
idea of a staycation was to stay at home and clean your house.
No, well, it's supposed to be I can't afford to go anywhere, so I'm going to stay at home and pretend I'm on vacation. But you can't do that. You really can't do that. And I go to conventions and shows and stuff here in the Dallas area, Arlington, Fort Worth, whatever. And I always go stay at a hotel at the convention when I do it, because that is part of the experience. It is part of getting out of my house and getting that reprieve from your house, and from the things that you have to do, and then try to go do things, while I'm there. Go eat at different places, go enjoy the local surroundings. And so I do like to do that. And that's why I suggest go. You don't have to start out with an overnight trip, but start with something small. Start with a day trip. Be gone all day. Come home that night. And then branch out to an overnight trip. Go a little bit farther, stay one night, explore, come back the next day. And you can also save for vacations. A lot of people have the mistaken idea that you have to pay everything up front or whatever. You can actually put money aside for a vacation and pay for it as you go, in advance as you go. So if a vacation to the Caribbean is a little bit more expensive than what you have cash for on hand, you can plan that vacation and make a deposit and then make payments toward it, like on the cruise.
Yeah, paid
and-
on that for 2 years.
Yeah. And so you can do that and pay on it and pay on it. You're paying cash. It's not on credit. You're paying cash, and
Just making a commitment with yourself to pay
that,
every
you know,
month or
and,
whatever,
and so
yeah.
you can do that. It's doable. It's very doable. Everyone in our family was able to afford to do that. Even my niece, who was still in college at the time, she hadn't even graduated yet, and she paid her own way on her cruise. So, she was able to do that. So you can do that if you budget wisely and you spend your money wisely and you plan ahead far enough. And if it's something that you can't pay on, there's a savings account. You can put money aside in your savings account for a vacation and plan ahead. Don't put it on your credit cards, though. I don't advise that, because that just is a world of trouble that you're asking for. So,
And then sooner or later you want to go on another vacation, but you're still paying.
you're still
off.
paying for that one. So, yeah.
Mhm.
And you're going to pay more for it if you do that
Yeah.
than if you just saved the money and then went. So, that's my advice there.
Well, anything else we want to talk about? No? So what are we talking about next week then?
Next week we are talking about our favorite nighttime routines.
Oh,
that
okay.
should be
We've talked
interesting.
about morning routines and facial
Self-care routines,
or
yeah.
whatever, hair care routines or facial routines. I don't
And whether
remember,
or not
face
we
care.
take a bath or brush our teeth, even.
Right. We've talked about all of them except working out.
I don't like to talk about that.
But yeah, no, we're going to talk about our favorite nighttime routines. So-
Awesome.
Okay,
awesome,
sounds great.
awesome. Looking forward to it.
Okay, so we want to thank our listeners. We want you to go to our Facebook page, check out our MMC chat, check out our blog, website, like and subscribe, interact with our post, give us a review. We want to hear from you. Send us an email.
Yes.
Let us know your favorite trips, your bucket list items. Maybe if we mentioned one that you really want to go to.
Or if
then,
we
yeah,
forgot
give us-
one, I'd like to know
yeah.
what you think.
Yeah, something new that we haven't even thought about going to. Yeah, let us know. We would like to thank Creative Audio Tech and Cake Mix Studios for our music and our equipment. And, of course, our listeners. We love you guys.
Yes, we do.
And we will
Be back next week.
be back next week.
I foiled her. Yes.
I was about to say it.
Bye.
Bye.